Hi everyone. We're going to be talking about discussion board 1 in this post. So in this post, I want to sort of emphasize this line from the prompt. It says, select any of the two stories from the list about life and death, compare how they deal with huge themes, and specifically analyze how they manage to address such massive topics in such a short space. Now, personally, Crane and Hemingway I think are interesting to compare to one another because they both come from about the same era. And so Hemingway is writing, they're both kind of writing in this modernist era of literature. And so the modernists are pretty interesting because on one hand, they're dissatisfied with the world as it's becoming in terms of a modern era. And so you look at someone like Hemingway, who Stein, his one of his mentors, claimed was part of this lost generation that comes back from World War I. And they were taught this idea of, what war should be like and the glory that's associated with war. They go to World War I. It's terrible. It's horrific. They're dealing with mass destruction that no one had ever seen before, and things like mustard gas, all these sorts of horrific things that they're seeing in war. It's not the same type of war that's ever been fought. And so they've been sort of kind of fed this narrative about war and life, and they come back and they're really dissatisfied with the world and modernity in general. And so I think that's what makes these two, Crane and Hemingway, kind of interesting to kind of look at in terms of their feelings of life and death, especially Hemingway, coming from this sort of post-World War I background. And so if you think about the modernists, they are dissatisfied with the world, but unlike the postmodernists, they kind of want to put things back together. They want to figure it out. And so I think that in both of these stories, you can see the authors trying to work out their feelings and thoughts about life and death. And so I think that they would be kind of interesting to pair with one another because they are, kind of basically contemporaries with one another, and they're kind of coming from the same sort of time period. So that might be kind of interesting to kind of look at them. And so that is something you might want to be kind of looking at as you're making those comparisons. Another kind of suggestion I would have for this discussion board is that it could be useful to break it up into paragraphs. So, for example, you might have one paragraph just about one author, and then the other paragraph about the other author, and then maybe a third paragraph kind of synthesizing both of them together. That's a possibility. Another way to do it is maybe have one paragraph where you talk about how both authors, deal with the theme of life, or both authors how they deal with the theme of death, and sort of compare and contrast two different quotes within the same paragraph, one from each of the authors. And so either way can work as long as you are kind of looking at not just what they're saying, but more importantly, as it says here, analyze how they manage to address such massive topics in such a short space. How are they doing it? Like, sort of look at the mechanics. Both authors are not very expository, where they're saying, like, this is how I feel, especially Hemingway. So maybe is that a reason or a way that they're able to talk about such big themes? I don't know. Something to consider. All right, so I think that's it for this post. In the second one, I'm going to kind of go into more detail into Open Boat and kind of look at some of those quotes to kind of help you understand it. And like I said, I am going to post that other Hemingway video that I use in one of my other classes to talk about the iceberg theory, if you want to kind of know more about Hemingway's writing style. All right, talk to you all soon. Bye.